I'm Sarah.
3 weeks ago, at my own baby shower, my mother-in-law, Florence, handed me an envelope in front of 50 guests. With a sickly sweet smile, she announced that it contained a list of 47 reasons my husband, Ethan, should divorce me. Ethan laughed, and so did most of the guests. I, however, felt a cold knot form in my stomach. I opened the envelope and started reading. When I reached reason number 23, my heart skipped a beat. I took a deep breath and read it out loud. Florence's face instantly lost all color, turning as pale as a ghost. That night, every single member of Ethan's family blocked her number. Before I tell you what was in that envelope and why it shattered Florence, let me take you back a month. It was a Thursday night and I was 7 months pregnant, lying on the couch with my feet elevated. I was exhausted, and every part of my body ached. Ethan was on the phone with Florence again. Her voice came through the speaker, sharp and authoritative, as if she was in charge of a high-stakes business meeting rather than discussing my baby shower. "I've planned everything," she said. "The catering, the decorations, and the guest list. Just tell Sarah not to worry about a thing." Ethan glanced at me and relayed the message. When I asked to speak to her, he hesitated but finally handed me the phone.
Florence, E.
I was thinking maybe we could go with a nature-themed shower, I suggested. She cut me off immediately.
Oh, Sarah.
You don't need to worry. You've never planned a big event like this. I have more experience. By the way, I've invited some of Ethan's old friends, including his ex-girlfriend, Olivia. My stomach dropped. Why would she invite Olivia to my baby shower? A week later, we had dinner at Florence's house. I wore a soft peach maternity dress that I'd bought with my own savings. It was the only thing that still made me feel good about myself. During dinner, Florence commented, "That dress is
unique."
Light colors can sometimes make a pregnant woman look a bit washed out. The table fell silent. I told her I was comfortable in it, and she replied with a dismissive laugh. After dinner, Ethan's sister, Grace, pulled me aside in the bathroom. "I'm sorry about her. She's been difficult," she said. "There's something I need to tell you. Can we meet at the cafe tomorrow?" The urgency in her voice made me nervous, but I agreed. At the cafe the next morning, Grace told me that she worked at a bank and had noticed an unauthorized withdrawal of $15,000 from my and Ethan's joint savings account. The authorization came from a linked account with secondary access, which Ethan had given to Florence years ago for emergencies. That night, when Ethan got home, I asked him about Florence's access to our account. He checked the balance and was shocked to find the money missing. He called Florence, and after the call, he told me that she'd said it was a loan for Ethan's birthday gift and that she'd pay it back. I was furious. She'd taken our money without asking. Ethan pleaded with me not to bring it up at the baby shower to avoid drama. The day before the shower, Florence called me. She said she'd coordinated everything in lavender and silver and asked me to wear something to match. I told her I'd already chosen a mint green dress. There was a long pause on the line, and then she said, "Well, whatever makes you comfortable," her tone dripping with insincerity. She also mentioned a special surprise she'd been planning for me at the shower, which sent a chill down my spine. On the morning of the shower, my best friend, Mia, found me in the bedroom, looking at the bank statement. She could tell I was preparing for a battle. I filled her in on everything, and she offered to have my back and document whatever happened. When we arrived at Florence's house, it was beautifully decorated in lavender and silver. The first person I saw was Olivia, wearing a lavender dress that matched the theme perfectly. Florence greeted me with a hug and whispered, "Glad you didn't wear the right color. It'll be more fun this way." As the shower went on, I could feel Florence's eyes on me. At 3 o'clock sharp, she clinked her glass and gathered everyone around. She held the white envelope in her hand and said, "Before we continue, I have a very special presentation for Sarah, something I've been working on for months." Just then, Grace rushed in, looking worried. She pulled me aside and told me she'd heard Florence on the phone talking about a list and that I should be careful. She also reminded me of the bank statement in my purse. As I walked back to the center of the room, Aunt Amelia, who'd always been quiet and observant at family gatherings, stopped me. She sat me down and said, "I've known Florence for a long time. She's never liked anyone who doesn't do as she says. Years ago, she made up lies about me stealing from the family, and my husband believed her. Don't let her win with silence." Then Florence started her speech. She held out the envelope and announced the 47 reasons for my divorce. Everyone started laughing, thinking it was a joke. But I was done being silent. I opened the envelope and began to read the petty complaints. When I got to reason number 23, which read, "She doesn't even know I accessed their joint bank account to withdraw $15,000 for Ethan's birthday gift. Proof she doesn't pay attention to their finances," the room fell completely silent. I continued. "For the record, I did know. The withdrawal was $15,000, and I have the documentation right here." I pulled out the bank statement from my purse. Florence's face paled, and she stammered, trying to come up with an excuse. Ethan stepped forward, shocked. "Mom, you took our money?" Florence tried to justify it, but Aunt Amelia stood up and said, "You accessed their account without permission. That's stealing." The room erupted in chaos. Grace stepped forward and confirmed that she'd seen the transaction at the bank. Olivia also spoke up and revealed that Florence had lied to her about the reason for the invitation. Florence's composure completely crumbled. Ethan looked at his mother, and then at me and our unborn child. "Mom, I think you should leave," he said firmly. Florence left, threatening that it wasn't over. But that night, I felt a sense of relief. Everyone in Ethan's family supported me, and I finally felt like I belonged. After the shower, we discussed next steps. Ethan decided to remove Florence's access from our accounts immediately. We also agreed that she needed to apologize and pay back the money before we would have any further contact with her. A week later, we received an email from Florence. Instead of an apology, she blamed me for orchestrating everything and said the money was a loan. Ethan replied, clearly stating that he wouldn't respond until she apologized to me and repaid the money. A few weeks after that, the money suddenly appeared back in our account, but there was no apology. Then Grace told me that Florence was in a bad state. Everyone had stopped talking to her, and she was very lonely. But she still refused to admit she was wrong. 3 months later, I gave birth to our daughter, Ava. Florence wasn't at the hospital because she hadn't apologized. But as I held Ava in my arms for the first time, I knew that I wanted to protect her from a family environment filled with manipulation and lies. Later, Ethan told me that he'd called Florence to tell her about Ava. She'd cried and asked to see the baby, but Ethan had told her that she could only meet Ava when she was ready to respect me. 6 months after Ava was born, I received a handwritten letter from Florence. In it, she wrote about her own difficult childhood and how she'd learned to equate love with control. She admitted that she'd been wrong to treat me the way she had, and that she was truly sorry for the list, the money, and all the pain she'd caused. Ethan and I decided to meet her at a cafe. When we saw her, she looked different, softer. She apologized to me in person, and I could see the sincerity in her eyes. She asked to see Ava, and after a moment, I let her hold our daughter. I hadn't fully forgiven her, but I'd given her a chance. Because boundaries aren't about shutting people out completely, they're about creating a safe space where everyone can grow and heal.